All right, so my name's Wayne Lissabane. I write a lot of poetry and some short stories, and I have a project I've been working on for a while. And the working title is The Well-Fed Poet. You always hear about the poor, starving artist, right? Well, I'm pretty well fed. I'm a home cook. I like to cook, and I write poems, stories about food. I write something, I call it a recipe-poem. It's basically a recipe in poem form. And so this project has some recipe poems and some just poems about food, and I'll go through some of it. King oyster shrimp. Get you some king oyster mushrooms, slice them lengthwise nice, one layer in the big pan, oil and butter, saute and brown them light. Throw right on top your shrimps, Southwest seasoning does them right. Now the secret ingredient that are gonna make your night. Add chili ginger garlic sauce and some fermented black bean paste. I wouldn't steer you wrong. Cook and stir, stir and cook. That doesn't take too long. Now serve on top of those Chinese noodles. The kind that come parboiled. Perhaps you know the ones. And as you sit there eating, you will marvel at the taste and how quickly it was done. Okay, so that's my first recipe poem. I have some recipes. I'm not going to read through the recipes, but there's one here, striped bass appetizer. Let's see. This one I just call a recipe poem. If pride cometh before a fall, I better watch my butt in the kitchen. I cooked up something, I gotta say, that left my taste buds twitching. I caught the fish that made the stock, so well put to use within. Sauteed lemongrass, ginger, Thai chilies, garlic onions, then deglaze with marin. Add the stock, reduce it down, and strain it out so the wondrous broth begins. Throw in now those mussels, udon noodles, then the spinach, it goes in. Now pour yourself the Sauvignon Blanc. Did I say to have that chillin'? Then dish it up and settle down. Your palate you'll be thrilling. Oh, prideful cook, I do so boast a dish so good, 'tis likely it's a sin. Fluke, the spicy ginger garlic sauce. Soft shell clams, dig 'em, steam 'em, buttered delight. Save some broth for the sauce tonight. Fishing, catching, fluke for table, cleaned, filleted, and pan-fried able. Minced garlic, ginger, peppers too, sauteed a minute, maybe two. Now the spicy chili garlic paste in the broth you did not waste. Dredged fillets, seasoned well, into the pan, both sides do tell. Turn some chopped up bok choy into a sauteed veggie joy. Steam white rice onto the plate, add fish and bok choy, do not wait. Now the sauce makes it top rate, a feast for the eyes, the nose, and taste. There will be no morsel gone to waste. So I know I'm getting critiques, but I'm going to want to know if anybody gets hungry after hearing some of these. That's the real thing. Okay, where am I? Scones. Ensconced was he with his scones while he was trying to write him a poem. Though the poem was half-baked, the scones came out great. He thought best leave that keyboard alone. Okay. Anybody ever have canary beans? This is called drunken canary beans.
What are canary beans?
Canary beans. Yeah, I never heard of them either. But try some, like I tried some. You won't be forgetting them neither. Drunken beans, canary beans, that make them just all the better. I added some white wine, not Mexican beer, a recipe made not to the letter. The bacon, oh my, and onions, oh cry, green chilies, garlic, and cumin for taste, tomatoes from cans. It cooks up quite good, and the taste does go well, beyond reasoning. Okay. We used to have lobster rolls before they were, like so expensive, but on a roll. The lobster was on a roll. Sweet potato looked quite chipper. Coleslaw was looking scrumptious. A little squeeze from lemon, and all was rather sumptuous. Haggis. I am quite okay with gizzards, and with liver I'm quite fine. Though what else they put in haggis, well, suspicions do abound. And just why some like their haggis while reciting Robbie Burns, something about a mouse, This also does raise concerns. Last tomatoes. The last tomatoes have been picked to everything its season. Why store tomatoes have no taste. It just defies all reason. Okay, here's one of my more recent recipe poems, and I call this Valentine Scallops. In hot butter they go until nicely brown. Use plenty of lemon till that flavor abounds. Fry some shiitake in uncrowded pan. Asparagus pieces now can go in. Fermented black bean sauce and some soy you do add. No polenta, sliced rounds into hot olive oil. Season them nice, good food without toil. Now plate it all up, the colors do glow. More lemon on plates, to table you go. Add some wine chilled, either white or rosé. No need for a restaurant this Valentine's Day. And I think I'm going to leave it at that.
Would you like to give your opinion about, I had never heard of recipe poem before. This is a new one on me.
I think that's, I want to take credit for kind of creating something. I've looked it up and Googled it, and you might find hits on recipe poems, but they're not like this. So.
Are you a chef? Are you a cook?
I'm a home cook. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a home cook of some renown. So.
Okay. And of course, you like a lot of, I'm going to say Asian kind of flavors with your.
Yeah. Partly.
Yeah.
And seafood. I do a lot of fishing and stuff. So there's more in here about fish.
That's great.
Those
Blackfish and
beans,
tomatoes
those
too.
beans that got me.
Canary beans. Yeah. There's some other names for them too.
What do they look like?
They look like not much different than navy beans or something.
Yeah.
Canary beans.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a canary bean.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm not a bean person, so I wouldn't know
No,
it.
you don't know what you're missing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They're
Yeah.
filled with protein.
I'm
Good for
sure
you.
they are.
And
I'm
no
sure they
additional
are. But
fats.
then again, so there's a lot of things good for me that I don't do.
By the way, try cubing eggplant, put it in a wok, get it nice and brown, and add chili garlic paste and honey,
Honey.
and mix them together. It's delicious.
Oh.
The honey kind of softens the sharpness of the
So
chili
we'll have to
paste.
get you guys on the Galloping Gourmet.
Yeah.
Oh, God, those were absolutely, I've never heard anybody put a poem a recipe to put in poem form.
Delightful.
They were absolutely delightful.
And for me, writing, I cook something, I come up with something I really like. It helps me remember, and I can make it again sometime.
Yes,
Because you forget.
You
Every
do.
time I make
Especially since
something
you-
great, I try it again, forget it, doesn't come out the same.
That's because you don't remember how much of everything you put in, that's why. You gotta write it down as a recipe, so you
Yes.
remember what you put in this concoction of yours, so you would remember it. That was wonderful, thank you very, very
It
much.
really was a great way.
Just
Okay, Mr.
just one
Zwilling, you
comment?
are up.
Just one comment.
Yes,
if I may.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I
I'm sorry.
did get hungry. I did get hungry when you were saying.
Oh, yes.
One of the reasons is because I didn't eat much today, I was just too nervous about today, so I didn't eat much. But also, the way you were describing it, I saw the food, and that intensified my hunger. It wasn't just
Good.
because, but the way you described, I saw it. It makes me feel like it's a good time to go to a restaurant.
Okay.
Okay, Robert, you are up.
I'm trying to write a book, and this is the beginning of it. And you have to write it so that people are interested and keep turning the pages, and it's kind of a horror story in a way, a natural horror story. I'll just start. You can, if you think it's like too much, if it's too vindictive or didactic or, too preachy, people aren't gonna like it. It's not working. It's better.
No, you gotta hold that
You
pretty
gotta hold
close.
it like this. Working
Click
now.
it, click the button.
Oh, yeah, push the button up.
Push the button up.
Says,
We want to hear you.
Yeah.
so the middle button, well, no. Well,
There's a button.
all the way up. This
Yeah,
is-
there you go.
There you
That's
go.
view, when you have it there, okay. Has to be up here, okay. And I've also written this probably like 20 times so far. and just keep it over. I've got parts of the story printed up, just maybe probably 50 articles now I'm trying to put together. So this is how it's starting so far. Take 52. The story of Dorian Gray is a story where the plot is a trap. The force that creates life is the most powerful force in the universe. Without it, there wouldn't be any life at all. It has the power to create life out of inert materials, but once a life is created, this force has nothing to do with the life after that. The water that nourishes life is packed into new planets as they form out of cosmic dust and is released as the newly formed planet cools off. The emergence of water and of life is an automatic process throughout the universe. The creation of life is on autopilot. What it does after that is up for grabs. The world has changed by a few degrees, but within this change, the old world has disappeared. We are living in a new world. In this world, the insulation of time and space is gone. They don't shield us from our mistakes and shortcuts anymore. The time between random events is so short now that these events are no longer random. The purpose of life is to replenish life. All the substances we discard are automatically recycled back into the life stream so that it can be used again. That is how life replenishes life. It is a feedback process that governs how life forms, what it does, how it grows. The chemicals we use to make our world more comfortable and more beautiful are fed back to us, and because of their composition, it decreases birth rates and life expectancy after prolonged use, a point we reached a long time ago. For more than a century, critics have treated Dorian Gray as a moral fable about vanity and hedonism. Tens of thousands of essays, reviews, and books have dissected Dorian's sins, his nefarious lifestyle, his downfall. But this fixation on morality obscures the deeper mechanism at work. By moralizing Dorian's decay, scholars inadvertently prevent readers from seeing the ecological architecture beneath the narrative. None of them see Dorian as representing all of humanity, which he does. This means that Dorian could have been a choir boy, and the portrait, which represents a natural world, still would have shown decay. And without decay, life would cease. Inside our bodies, decomposition-based reactions create energy, distribute energy, and dispose of waste products that are toxic if they are not removed from the body. Dorian stops the decay process in his body to stop the aging process. He's basically holding his breath. When he dies, the portrait doesn't reset because life is always going forward. It goes forward to what it is. Life always goes forward until it can't, but it doesn't disappear or stop. It reinvents itself and continues forward in time. Despite humanity's abuse, nature possesses regenerative powers beyond human influence. The natural world is forever. It has a heart of stone, powered by the Earth's molten core and the sun. Dorian cannot kill the portrait. Humanity cannot kill nature. Humanity is dependent on microbes to exist. Microbes don't need humanity to exist. People have no idea where they stand in the scheme of things. Examples of extremophile life cover all ranges of conditions, temperatures, and pressures. It is the minor leagues, ready to step in and make the best of any kind of environmental conditions. Humanity is robbing, diverting, hoarding the natural substances that the natural world needs to produce a healthy decomposition process. Trees are a perfect example. A lot of the dead tree, harvested tree material is never decomposed back into the soil. 6 trillion trees used to process the air, land, and water to create a healthy environment so that life can successfully replenish life. Human life was a direct result of this process. There are now only 3 trillion trees left and fewer every year. It is like living in a house with only half a roof. The soil is being fed all kinds of garbage, which is being used to create unhealthy dirt as part of the decomposition process. Dorian Gray is not about people at all, but about the natural world, bearing the scars of our actions while we seemingly remain unblemished. The portrait isn't dying, it is only scarred. The rot is natural. Wilde's novel becomes not a tale of personal corruption, but a blueprint for understanding the relationship between humanity and nature. The supposed role the natural world has been forced to play in the catastrophic consequences of a civilization that cannot recognize its own reflection. Wilde's novel is filled with references to flowers, animals, and natural imagery. These are not decorative flourishes, they are reminders that the natural world is always present, always watching, always absorbing. The better humanity looks, the worse the natural world becomes. The novel reveals that humanity exploits nature for progress and beauty, believing it can erase consequences. But nature, like the portrait, always reflects the truth. Literary discourse must evolve beyond moral readings and academic diversions. If critics refuse to acknowledge the environmental and systemic dimensions of Dorian Gray, they perpetuate the same plausible deniability that allows civilization to ignore its impact on the natural world. Did anybody have any questions?
It's a great environmental story.
Yeah, what, is it too much, or is it turned?
Not for me. I thought it was terrific. Thank you.
Okay.
So
You
one
did a
thing
lot
that,
of research, obviously.
Well, yeah, I've been writing about it for like 50 years, really. Didn't know what I was doing half the time.
One thing that came to my mind, I don't know which way to turn, but just an old quote, a little bit of a crude quote that was used by Grace Slick in one of her songs. And the line is, I'm thinking about, like you're talking about the morals and Dorian Gray, and
Yeah.
the line is, doesn't mean shit to a tree, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Of course, you could do a whole chapter on what happens to a tree when it falls and how
Well,
it
yeah,
starts
no, that's-
decaying and.
Yeah, that's all in here, because none of that goes back into the dirt anymore. Well, a lot of it doesn't.
Yeah,
And that makes the dirt unhealthy, and that makes the plants unhealthy, which we then eat. Even we don't eat the plants, we eat the animals that eat the plants. Or we breathe the air that the plants make or whatever, so, yeah, everything has a chapter that just goes on and on and on.
good. Sounds wonderful.
It does, it sounds really good.
I misheard something in the beginning when you said what it is. I thought I was hoping it's going to be a beginning introduction chapter to a story that follows all the observation. And I think that would be a great story if you, starting with what you did, continue some personal theme there. Because right now, to me, we just stopped at a certain point, and I really would like to hear what happened after that interaction.
Well, yeah, no, each paragraph is goes into becomes a chapter, what happened.
We're not doing this today. Can I come here?
Thank you.
Do I have to?
Who are you?
Yeah.
Sometimes it comes across as too negative, you know, you have to just put it on the wall. You don't want to hear about it.
Thanks.
I mean, you really get into it, it changes our DNA. And old people like me are, well, the pollution rained down on us and is from the outside in, but for young people, everything that they're made out of is polluted to start with, so they're kind of, their bones, inside of their bones is pollution on out. Well, we've been here long enough, so it's gone in as far as it's, so it doesn't matter anymore. Everybody's equally saturated.
No, I'm a photographer also, and I have a certain amount of pictures of self-portraits. Lately, I've been looking at this, and I was saying, I understand Dorian Gray. I'd like to see the portrait still to be young, and I would somehow just look at it and enjoy the memories of what of those days when I was young. So I just remember that. It's a compelling thought that somehow the portrait will never change,
Sometimes.
even though I will.
Jewish, and sometimes people are with me, sometimes it's not.
I don't know if Oscar Wilde actually knew what he set into motion with the story.
No,
I haven't been able to figure that out.
I think he wrote a horror story, but I somewhere deep inside there, in his mind, in his brain, that made.
He knew something was going on, because that was the start of the Industrial Revolution, where people were beginning to wonder, you know, you keep burning the earth up to make energy and stuff, after a while, it just makes a lot of soot and ashes and stuff is disappearing. But, as far as what I've seen, the way it works with the better we look, the worse the picture looks, you know, and then picture comes back to normal when we stop screwing with it. And we can stop screwing with it anytime we want by just using different chemicals to do what we're doing. It's just everything is done for shortcuts and for profit and for money and stuff.
The way you put it, it was quite clear.
You know, I mean, but then it could be like almost socialist in nature, that all the profit people are making from the way stuff is done today actually needs to be used to clean up the mess that was made from when the moment the stuff was taken out of the ground, processed, used, abused, and then thrown away. That's where that profit is going, because the wrong stuff is being used to do it in the first place. So if you do it right, then there's a profit. If you do it wrong, then the money should be spent on cleaning it up. And that's just not happening. That's a major
Hopefully it'll
problem.
be pretty soon.
Well,
month of June.
one thing, your topic is of current interest and will always be of current interest, so you got that
Don't
going
remember
for
my
it.
book.
Yeah.
I better be first
You can't ignore it anymore. That's the thing, people, like, they don't change until something bigger comes along. And then for me, like the weather and the viruses and the bacteria, those two are really, really big game changers. And they're telling us what to do now. And you go back, like, a couple of thousand years ago, like, the big elements in the world was, fire, water, wind, and earth. Those were everything was made out of that. That's what the whole world, that's how it all worked. Like, we got all this chemistry and physics now, it's got all kinds of explanations for all kinds of stuff. But the funny thing is, the earth, wind, and fire, and the rain, those have become super important again. I mean, those are more important to you than who cares what's in a chemistry book or something now, because you can see something's burning, something's flooding, you know, something's getting blown away. You know, the earth somewhere isn't working right, and those four things have become back just as important as they were in Roman times. And the weather, I mean, we can't even tell what's going on in the weather. When I was a little kid, you know, the weather was kind of predictable, and then as it went along, it became really predictable, and now we're back to where we can't predict it again, really. I mean, we can say it's gonna rain, but you know, you could end up with 10 inches of rain in 10 minutes. They can't tell you that's gonna happen unless, you know, you're right in the middle of it, and it's too late. But that's what used to happen in Roman times, and before then, was the weather would just pop up on you and just really cream you, and, you know, that was just the way life worked, and it's all come back to that again.
Wonderful, thank you.
You know, we tried to integrate all of that into the book there.
Production day.
Just, you know, it just, every time I try to do it, it just gets away from me, it just gets farther, you know. One more thing to cover.
You have to speak louder.
Hi, everybody. All right, now we have Coyle Doreen, the first time I
Okay, take care.
read the portrait of Dorian Gray, and now I've got a new perspective on it. And that means that Vance, you are up, you are my last victim tonight. No, but all before you.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Rotner. Mr. Rotner is up. I apologize, sir. You are up, I apologize.
I was already falling apart. This is actually my first time that I am speaking in front of the public. And I don't know how
Microphone,
I'm going to deal with that. Let me just get my,
Can you use the microphone, please?
yes, I'm going to.
Thank you.
Okay,
Push the button.
I have to explain that it's not a book, a novel. This is excerpts from a musical that I'm writing, and I will read to you one scene. And of course, I need to explain what is it about. And it's not going to be as horrific as you might think after my introduction.
Are you gonna sing for us?
No, but I have.
Shucks.
Well, I have a song here sung by someone else from the musical. It's set before the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising in 1943 that ended with extermination of 300 Jews. Death of an SS officer is a haunting musical allegory of humanity, guilt, and redemption. After the SS officer evicts a Jewish family from the apartment, he is unexpectedly shot dead by unknown assailant. This is the end of the first short scene. Seconds later, in the second scene, time magically rewinds and family is still there. Life continues as before. But something has changed. The SS officer is among them. Unseen by the family, he is trapped in their apartment, forced to witness day after day the very lives he tried to destroy. Observing their warmth, humor, resilience, and humanity, his hatred begins to unravel. Questions and doubts arise. The scene I'm going to read from is in the middle of the first act. The grandfather and his 8-year-old grandson, Henyo, talk about hatred for Jews. The German officer stands by the wall and listens. The parents and their 17-year-old daughter enters later. Let me get my glasses. Since it will be obvious who is talking, I will skip, for the sake of time, the part that introduces each speaking character.
Henyo, Zaidi, why does Hashem allow the Germans to hate us so much? Is Hitler stronger than Hashem? Grandfather thinks. No, Henyo, Hitler is not stronger than Hashem. No one is stronger than Hashem. Why Hashem allows Hitler to hurt us so much? I don't know. No one knows. However, I can't help. I wonder if this is God's way of trying to make people realize that if they do nothing to stop the spread of evil hatred, it will eventually invade their homes and overwhelm them as well. Will the Germans have to kill Papa and Mama and Sarah and you and Uncle Leon and Yannick and me so that the people can understand this? Officer reacts to these words with some discomfort. Grandfather takes a long time to answer. I think that people are already beginning to understand this. Uncle Leon told us that the Americans are now fighting the Germans too, that the British airplanes are bombing German cities, and the Russians are holding back Hitler soldiers at a city called Stalingrad. They will yet chase Germans all the way to Berlin, and on their way here, they will chase them out of Poland. And when will this happen? Because I'm afraid they won't come, those Russians, in time to save us. The best thing to do when we're afraid to keep ourselves busy with something that takes our mind off. For example, learning. Learning is very important and also very interesting. You can learn about many things, many wonders. For example, do you know how it's called the highest mountain in the world? No, it's called Mount Everest. And how high is this Mount Everest? Oh, it's almost 9 kilometers high. How high is that? Let's see. If our apartments were at the very top of that mountain, instead of the second floor to get there, we would have to climb 3,000 floors. 3,000, wow! How long would that take? That has to be calculated. And that's why learning math is so important. If it takes to go up to our apartment on this floor, let's say 1 minute, then to go to an apartment on the next floor, it would take how long? That's easy. 2 minutes. Right, 2 minutes. And if we lived on the 3,000th floor, how long would that take? 3,000 minutes? Bravo. And 3,000 minutes is how many hours? This I don't know. How many minutes are in an hour? 60. So, if 1 hour has 60 minutes, then we have to divide 3,000 by 60, which makes 50 hours. Since each full day has 24 hours, then if we start climbing the stairs on Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning, we would reach our apartment 2 days later on Wednesday, after 10 o'clock in the morning. Whoa, Zaide, that long? But what if we need to stop and pee? Quite right. If we have to, then we have to. So let's add 20 more minutes for 10 steps. How do you know that, Zaide? Oh, I calculated. I know math. At this moment, father and mother enter from the outside. Hail to his parents. I am being educated in science. You have no idea how much there is to learn about the world. Zaide helped me to count how long it will take to climb Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world. It would take, mother interrupts. Where is Sarah? Hey, she went out. It will take to climb, mother. Where does she go so often? Isn't she aware of the danger outside? There could be a roundup at any time. She's in the backyard, Hannah. Hannah says, she's in the backyard. Continues. It would take him to climb the mountain Mother interrupts again. I'd like to be sure she's there. Father, I'll go out and look for her. At this moment, the door opens and Sarah enters. Mother, where have you been? Don't you know how dangerous it is to be on the street nowadays? Father, roundups, arrests, deportations. Sarah, I was not on the street. I don't like to be on the street. Streets are getting sadder and sadder. There are more and more hungry and homeless people there. They sit on the cobblestones staring at the shop window that still have bread or meat. They sit there half asleep, dreaming about food, and they never wake up from those dreams. Not even when a passing gendarme kicks them out of the way. I can't bear to look at those soldiers. It's not even hatred anymore. Hatred I can understand because I hate too. This is something else. This is an inhuman indifference. To those gendarmes, the man lying there is nobody. Not someone's father, husband, son, or brother. His trash, his dead dog. How do those cursed Germans sleep at night? Grandfather, the saying goes, other people's troubles don't disturb our sleep. Sarah, what are we to them? Do they see us only through their distorted minds? Father, had not a Jew hands, organs, dimensions, senses, affections, passions, fed with the same food, hurt with the same weapon, warmed and cooled by the same winter and summer as a Christian is? If you prick us, don't we bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? Sarah, and when you have wronged us, shall we not seek revenge? Mother, but who among those animals read Shakespeare? Their entire literature is Mein Kampf. Sarah, how did this nation, the nation of Bach, Beethoven, Schumann, Goethe, became so despicably lowly? A people raised on Schopenhauer and Nietzsche have stopped thinking for themselves and repeat like parrots, Heil, Heil, Heil. I would be ashamed to call myself a daughter of such a nation. The officer is clearly feeling uncomfortable. I wasn't on the street, I was in the backyard. I was looking for the first leaves on the trees. Spring will be coming soon. But how will I enjoy spring? Spring is a walk in the park. Spring is the voices of birds in the trees. Spring is sun and the beach. Spring is trips out of town. Spring is joy, hopes, and cries. Mother awkwardly. In the spring, people cry too. Sarah. But in the spring, people should cry only from happiness. Henyo. Or to go to school to learn. Do you know the tallest? Father, to Sarah, interrupting him. Don't be hard on your mother. She's afraid that if she let herself be weak, she'll fall apart. And Yannick, brave Yannick, is a threat to her. Sarah, to her mother. I love him so much. And he loves me. I feel it with all my heart. In the midst of all their uncertainty, in the fear that we live in, I feel safe with him. And I know, for me, he would cross the widest desert, swim the deepest sea, scale the highest mountain. Henyo, finally, triumphantly, and it would take him 50 hours to climb it and another 20 minutes to pee. Audience, people laugh. Henyo could not understand what was it so funny that he said. Lights dim, end of the scene.
Excellent reading.
Thank you.
Have you been active?
Visibly, inside, this is a different story. Do I have still the time that you say I have?
You have some time.
So there is one song that I have here. Let's see if I, when you turn it off, it just resets, so take me a few seconds. Okay, make it as loud as I can. At some point, early in the first act, the mother and Sarah are discussing things, are fine. The mother is saying, I don't want you to walk. You're too young, first of all, to be with boys. And I don't want you to be with Yannick because he is really not for you. He's from the outside world. So this is the song of the refusal by Sarah to her mother.
She reminds me
So,
I can't describe what I feel. Could you? When you fell in love,
remember?
it's not bliss, it's not thrill, it's infatuation, intoxication, liberation. Don't you remember? You too were once young, and your breath stopped, and your heart sang. When his eyes had found you, and yours found him, and suddenly the whole world began to spin. I love him like you can only love for the first time, when there is nothing to compare this love to any other love. When your life begins to pirouette, when every feeling is sublime, and there is nothing but him that I am thinking of. I love him like you can only love for the first time, when those thoughts of him won't let me fall asleep. And when I'm near him, I feel I'm dancing on cloud nine, for he is now the most important part of me. I can't describe what I feel, what's bursting forth like fire from my heart. I can't find the words that will reveal how I feel. I wouldn't even know where to start. Did you not feel the goosebumps? Did you not feel you could fly? Did you not know that something had forever changed in your life? Did you
Did you write all that? Did you write the song?
Yeah, I read the play, I wrote the lyrics, and I wrote the music.
That's
Wow.
very impressive.
Very nice.
Nice job.
Good. Anybody have, anything to say, any critiques?
Just it was delightful. The subject matter is not always the best, but I think the warmth of it between the grandfather and the grandson is very compelling, and the music is wonderful. Who did you get to sing? Is she professional?
No, the singing is by AI, because I really don't have the funds to create in all my songs to have a band and have a singer. However, I always must insist the words and the melody, the music, and the arrangement in a way that's how I want it to sound, is all mine.
I mean, that was AI?
That was it.
Beautiful.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful.
I love the Mount Everest stuff. That was a nice thread going through there.
I'm not sure if that last scene that he was bursting with sharing his knowledge of that mountain, and he was interrupted constantly by the mother and the father until the final moment when he found the opening. I don't know if this came clear, but I wanted this to be a relief and fun. When Sarah is saying that she loves him and he will do everything for her, he will cross swim the deepest sea, cross the desert, and climb the highest mountain. And Henry just saw the opening, and he said, "It will take him 50 hours to do this."
And 20 minutes to pee.
Yes.
That added some needed levity to that.
That was cute.
Thank you again.
Yeah. All right, we are down to our last speaker.
Up all the way.
That works. Hi, my name is Vance Alexander, and I have 2 books published and 1 on the way. Should be here next month. All thanks to Shattered Ceiling Press, which is a wonderful organization that can help you if you are trying to get a book published. So, I also had a group of writers every Thursday here in the library, and I give them prompts, and I do the same prompt as they do. And this is one of the prompts that I had given them. A person wakes up in a strange area. She doesn't know where she is, and this is what happened to her. Annika Wilson had always believed her life would unfold in a quiet, steady chapter, like the well-worn pages of the Bible she kept beside her bed. At 31, she was exactly where she thought she should be, a middle school teacher, respected by her colleagues, adored by her students, and anchored by a faith that had guided her since childhood. Her students called her Miss W, and though she maintained a firm classroom, she was known for slipping encouraging notes into lockers, staying late to help with essays, and remembering every birthday. It was fitting then that when her own birthday arrived, others insisted on celebrating her. She had protested at first. A dinner is more than enough. she told her friend Claire. But Claire had only smiled. Not for you. You give too much to everyone else. So Monica found herself that evening standing outside Le Faison d'Or, a restaurant tucked along a quiet street. Its sign flickered gently in the dusk, elegant but not ostentatious. Through the windows she could see candlelight and hear the faint hum of laughter. She paused before entering, smoothing the simple navy dress she had chosen. It felt a little more daring than her usual wardrobe, fitted with a modest neckline, but Claire had insisted. "You're allowed to look beautiful," she had said. "It's not a sin." Monica smiled at the memory and stepped inside. And then a chorus. "Surprise!" Her colleagues stood around a long table, faces bright with affection. There was Mr. Donnelly from math, already raising a glass. Mrs. Patel, who waved enthusiastically, and a smattering of friends from church. The evening unfolded like something out of a dream. There was just a little wine, Monica reminded herself, and course after course of tasty food. Conversations overlapped, stories were told, and laughter filled the space between them. Later, as dessert was served, a delicate cake crowned with candles, her friends began to sing. Monica closed her eyes briefly before making her wish. She didn't wish for anything extravagant, only for balance. For the strength to remain true to her faith and the courage to embrace joy when it found her, even in unexpected places. Under golden lights, surrounded by people who cared, she opened her eyes and blew out the candle. The room erupted in cheers, but for a moment, everything felt still. The first thing Monica remembered was the glow of candlelight and the soft echo of laughter. Then dizziness, a strange tilting, as if the floor had quietly slipped beneath her feet. The room had begun to rotate, slowly at first, then faster, until the faces around her blurred to streaks of color. And then, nothing. When she opened her eyes, silence greeted her. Not the comfortable hush of a classroom before the bell, nor the reverent quiet of a church. This silence felt vast, as though it stretched beyond the walls, if there were walls. Monica drew a careful breath. She was no longer at the restaurant. The candlelit tables, the music, her friends, all gone. Instead, she found herself seated on a simple wooden bench in what appeared to be an open courtyard. Pale, smooth stone stretched beneath her feet. Around her stood tall arches, ancient-looking, but beyond them there was no clear city, no landscape she could name, only a soft, glowing haze, like sunlight touched by morning fog. "Hello?" Her voice sounded smaller than she had expected. It carried through a space, it carried, though, as if the space were listening. Monica stood, steadying herself. She felt no pain, no injury, just a lingering confusion and a quiet awareness that she was somewhere entirely unfamiliar. This isn't real, she thought, but it felt real. The coolness of the stones beneath her shoes, the faint brush of air against her skin. Everything was detailed, undeniable. Not necessarily untrue, though. The voice came from behind Monica. She turned quickly. A man stood beneath one of the arches. He was difficult to place. neither young nor old, and dressed in simple, neutral clothing. There was nothing remarkable about his appearance at first glance, and yet something about him held her attention completely. "Where am I?" she asked, her voice steadier now. He regarded her for a moment before answering. "That depends on how you define where." Monica frowned. "I'm serious." "I am as well." He stepped closer, his movements unhurried. "You've been taken out of your usual circumstances. Think of this as a place between certainties." "That doesn't make sense." "It will." Monica crossed her arms, grounding herself. "Was I hurt? Did I faint?" "Your body is safe." Something about the phrasing unsettled her. "My body." She tilted her head slightly. "You're asking the right questions. That's good." Monica took a breath, steadying the rising unease. "Then answer me plainly. Why am I here?" For the first time, the man's expression softened. "Because," he said, "you asked for something." "No, I didn't." "You did," he replied gently. "Perhaps not with words." And then she remembered the candles, the quiet moment before she blew them out, her wish for balance. Monica's breath caught. This is about that?" she asked. "In part." She looked around again, seeing the place differently now. The symmetry of the arches, the calm, almost intentional stillness of the air. It didn't feel random. It felt purposeful. "What is this place?" she asked softly. "A place where you are shown what you're ready to see." Monica hesitated. "And what's that?" The man gestured toward one of the archways. Beyond it, the haze seemed to shift, forming something more distinct, like an image waiting to come into focus. "That depends on what you believe you've been missing," he said. Monica's instinct was to resist, to demand clarity, to insist on logic. But another part of her, quieter and deeper, urged her forward. She thought of her life, her careful choices, her devotion, her discipline, her restraint. "I don't feel like anything is missing," she said, though the word sounded less certain than she intended. The man didn't argue. "Then you have nothing to fear." Monica exhaled slowly. After a moment, she stepped toward the arch. As she crossed beneath it, the courtyard dissolved behind her, and the haze gave way to new shapes, colors, and movement. A world forming around her. Just before it fully took hold, she heard the man's voice one last time. "Balance," he said, "is not found by standing still." And then Monica Wilson stepped into whatever came next. That's it. Thank you. Questions? Confusion?
Yeah, it's a nice lead into got to the new world there.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
It smoothly went from the regular Woldley scene to the wherever she ended up.
Oh. But that's up to you to find out where she moved.
So, my confusion is, that was so captivating and but I don't know why. I don't know what you just did.
Oh, well, I guess that's good in a way.
Yeah, it was well done, but I can't say why it was well done.
Well,
I guess because it's a beautiful writing, and And I think you respond to something that is beautiful, that it's not in a hurry, it's not in a rush, doesn't have shortcuts like so much what we see in television or in books now. It just took its time, and I think that I like that very, I'm sure, did you hear me?
Yeah, no, I think that's a
So,
good, I think that's a
so
good comment.
I was responding to beautiful writing and to this unhurried road from one thing to another. And I think that makes me feel that I want to hear what happens next.
It's open. It's what you interpret from it. I mean, I wrote it. There's things about it that some people could relate to. I mean, we all know somebody who's kind of shy and doesn't extend themselves to the world. And then all of a sudden, something happens that makes her life change. And it happens in a dramatic way in her case because she doesn't know what's happening to her. So whatever comes next, that's up to your imagination. I mean, she could walk out of that arch and get hit by a car.
Yeah,
So,
you could use that whole story as a prompt and let
Yes.
people put their own ending, next chapter to it.
and it's wonderful when I give prompts, how the same prompt, everybody writes something that's totally different. And it all comes together, and it's wonderful to hear other people's works as well.
There was one phrase that you used that made me wonder a little bit if it could have been turned around. There was something about the sunlight was touched by the morning fog. And I was thinking, well, could it be the morning fog was touched by the sunlight?
Yeah.
You know, would that be a good alternative, or? I mean, I love your whole piece, but I'm just, it did kind of grab my ear.
Only a soft glowing haze, like sunlight, touched by morning fog. That really should be reversed. Fog touched by morning sunlight.
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. Questions?
It was great, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Well, gentlemen, we do have one more reader. We have a new gentleman here tonight. His name is Joel, and he would like to read for you.
Nice.
Let's give him a nice welcome, and can you get brave enough to go to the podium and read for us?
Yay!
I'd first like to say thank you very much, everybody, for accepting me and allowing me to read a little bit. Yeah, I could say I'm somewhat of a poet myself. I kind of dabble in some poetry every now and then, but I wouldn't say I'm a poet like a lot of you, and I would say all of you are. Very inspired by a lot of you, and it's a very good experience listening to everybody. All right. This today that I'm reading, I titled it as Righteous, a poetic, a very poetic piece in my opinion that I've been working on for a while. It's just, it really like reminisces with me, and I guess I should just start. All white suit, I'm feeling righteous. I know the truth is hard to swallow sometimes. My anxiety feels the size of a planet, holes in my thoughts over time, my heart's over ice. I'm freezing. I know I'm not perfect, far from it. but I'm trying to do right. Stay true, fighting these battles inside my head, hoping one day I break through. Life moves fast, but I keep going, learning from the pain, keep growing. I will rise above. I believe it. In my soul, I feel the meaning. This version highlights the reflective, redemptive core, striving for righteousness. In the inner struggles while removing any heavy or unstable references, it flows as a gentle, introspective resilience and hope. And that's it. And I have another one I would also like to read. This one I titled it as Hide. And it really is just like it's sort of a romantic poem in some sorts, and I think you should just hear it. I really think I found my home. She makes me feel at home. She made me leave the thrills at home, and I'm fine with it. She made me lose control, and I think I'm gonna let my love unfold. We're just two lost souls, but we're fine with it. There's love at my front door, and it's short notice. She's not like the same girls I've noticed. I think I've met my soulmate. Yeah. I notice. When it gets dark outside, in you I confide. You help me face my demons, and I really won't hide. Girls like you are really hard to find. I hope you don't mind if I give you the time of my life. Life is not the same with your picture in my frame. Now that you're here, I want nothing to change. You pick me up when I'm down. I need you around. You see me through my darkest times. You've brought meaning to my life. All because of you, I do right. Because of you, I have a purpose. I fight for the world because you're worth it. And that's it. Any questions, any notes, any critiques, comments?
Well, you can be a poet. Actually, the rules for being a poet kind of disappeared a couple of years ago. That first piece you wrote, you could actually, if you do long lines, you know, it's a lot of times poetry is just a couple of words, you know, like a phrase and another phrase like that. You can actually write across the full length of the line, whatever you can get in one breath, and then start a new line after that. And it comes, because what you have there is really poetic. It would look good, I think, if you reformat it that way and read it that way too. And the second one was like very honest, very, very moving.
Obviously, they came from your heart, both of them.
Yeah, thank you.
It showed.
The last one I like specifically because it reminded me of how I felt when I was your age. And it came to my mind how true it is in that play, the musical that I'm writing is that we are so much alike. We only can try to understand, to see the other person. And what you were reading is just like I was writing to my girlfriend when I was your age. The feelings, the emotions, the need to share something and to be loved. universal. And so I was just responding to with absolute sentiment and great memories. And you did it, and I liked it very much, besides that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just a suggestion. Your poems are good. Project more. Let us hear your words. You're kind of holding everything back within yourself. Let us hear it. Say it again. Say the first poem again. But let us hear the sounds. Don't mumble into the microphone.
You don't have to be nervous, you can just,
Yeah, I mean, you've got the talent. Do it. Go ahead.
All right. All white suit, I'm feeling righteous. I know the truth is hard to swallow sometimes. My anxiety feels the size of a planet. Holes in my thoughts over time. My heart over ice. I'm freezing. I know I'm not perfect, far from it, but I'm trying to do right. Stay true, fighting these battles inside my head, hoping one day I break through. Life moves fast, but I keep going, learning from the pain, and I keep growing. I will rise above. I believe it. In my soul, I feel the meaning.
Much better.
I think that my anxiety is as large as planets. I think that's really,
that's a good line, yeah.
it is a beautiful line.
I just, when I think of that, it's just like, I was really trying to think of like something I can relate to my, the sort of feeling I was having, and I was thinking like, what is a big thing that, you know, that we all know, that's a universal big thing, and as I was thinking, I was like, planets, you know, like the universe is vastly large, and you know, I could say my anxiety is as huge as the universe, but I feel like it just doesn't reminisce with people as my anxiety, the size of a planet, you know. It's,
Too nebulous, right?
it just, yes, it varies, I don't know. I feel like it goes off the tongue a bit smoother and sounds really nice.
How long have you been writing poetry?
I've been writing for maybe about 5 years, and you know, I come back to a couple pieces and you know, tweak them every so often. But you know, I've been primarily just you know focused on these ones for right now, and I have a couple drafts of some other ones, but you know, they still need a lot of work, and you know, feel ready. But yeah.
Just keep writing.
Yeah. Don't give up, just keep going at it.
Who knows, one of these days I'll pick up a book and
There you'll be.
it'll have your poetry in it.
Thank you for sharing with us.
But thank you guys for all listening. Thank these people around us that are, you know, getting it as like a little kind of background noise.
You guys all did, I have to say, you all did a great job. And now I'm the type of thing to listen to, I can go look for recipe. I do down.
If, I wouldn't mind taking another 2 minutes.
If you wanna do another 2 minutes, go right ahead.
Yeah, I have something I've done a number of times, and I like to practice it.
Go ahead, go practice. We got a few minutes. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
that's what I figured.
Yeah,
So this is actually a medley of poems and some prose. I was just thinking one day, you know, you always hear, you know, medleys of songs, but I mean, you ever hear medleys of poems? Or, you know, not so often. So this is a medley of love and marriage. Contentment had floated on love's youth, and happiness was childlike and free. So I gotta back up a minute. See, I've done this a lot, but I haven't forgotten it. I thought I had this well memorized. Give me a second here. Contentment had floated on love's youth, and happiness was childlike and free. Once upon a time, we were awash in love. Bliss followed us, flowers bloomed in our path, and the warmth of my love's smile did flow like the sun. My soul was lost in her eyes. I will tell you this, she had a smile that lit up the whole room, brown eyes that could melt hearts from a block away, and when she looked at you with that certain look, she was intoxicating. She was only poetry that I held long ago, skin spun from silk and moonbeams, and lips made from 1,000 summer breezes. She was just a dream, yet there she stood, solid and beckoning, a moment that made even angels pause, and God's wish that they were men. Was it an angel that whispered in my ear that time as a man, husband, lover? Behold your lover. She is the child that laughed and cried. She is the woman that will look back. She is all. She is more. Baby, child, mother, old woman, surviving life's past and facing life's future, unto death and eternity. Was it an angel that whispered this? Hold me close and tell me you remember when hot burned the fires and angels sang of our passions, and I was yours and you were mine, and nothing else mattered. Hold me close and whisper you have not forgotten. Dance, dance with me, my love, and we shall live forever. Hold me close, my love, and we shall conquer time.